I have a confession to make. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much to everybody who has continued to watch and subscribe, and those of you who are commenting and sending me emails. It's such an encouragement to me. I'm really grateful to have such wonderful subscribers and viewers and people who keep coming back to hear my story and see my life journey. I really am so grateful because I have a confession to make. I have been really sad, and that's just real, that's honest. I have been sad for these last 4 months or so that we've back in the US. Just really kind of cycling through the motions of sadness, regret, disappointment, and then trying to be somewhat happy or content, and then back around to sadness. And it all stems from leaving Ethiopia and the life that I had envisioned for us there. And I think what I've been going through and what I'm coming to realize is that I'm grieving the loss of that vision that I had for myself and for my family. And so being back here has been, I knew it would be hard for me especially, but it's been harder than I even expected it to be. And my husband has gone back to work and I've been home with the kids, mostly doing it on my own. I have my family here. My mom has been especially helpful when she's able to, but everybody's busy. Everybody's going about their own work and their own lives, their own schedules. So, I kind of felt a little bit alone and isolated, which is, I think, a common trend among mothers in the US. It can feel very isolating, especially, if you're a working mother or non-working mother, whether you're married or unmarried, it just can feel like you're doing it alone and you're overwhelmed. And so I kept comparing life here to life in Ethiopia, where it was more of a community feel, where I was surrounded by other women and mothers who were also at home, also with children, and they would just come over, show up and spend time together. Like, women would just sit around, literally sit around and talk while they're washing clothes or cooking meals or doing whatever. Some of my neighbors who are women would bring over food sometimes just out of kindness, just because I didn't request them to do that. And it was just a different culture, obviously, and a different mentality. Whereas in the US, we don't really do things like that so much. It's not necessarily in our culture. Maybe at one point in history it used to be, but now we're very individualistic. Everybody's doing their own thing, and so a lot of time mothers, just kind of feel like they're the only ones going through the stresses and challenges of motherhood, when really, we're all kind of going through it together but separately. So, I was cycling through these emotions, and but at the same time knowing that we're supposed to be here at this time, that we're still in God's will being back here. But I couldn't reconcile the two, the way that I was feeling about being back and missing, what I had there versus what I know is God's will for us right now. And so, I couldn't really express what I was feeling. Like, I would try to and talk to my husband about it. And so, being the loving husband that he is, he was just like, well, I feel the same way. And if you want to go back, let's just go back. We can just pick up and go back. And I was like, I would love to do that, but I don't think that that is the answer. And so when he would ask me, well, what should we do? What do you want me to do? I didn't know. I didn't have the answer, because I was just trying to work through it and trying to really express it the best way that I could. And so, my husband and I just began to pray and to seek the Lord for a solution, not our own solution, not our own desires, but what he knows is best for us. And so part of the challenge was wanting to go back and take our lessons learned and do it again, and then on the other hand recognizing there that could be unstable. There'd be a lot of instability for our children moving back and forth. Our oldest son Jonah is in a good school right now that he likes his teacher, he's getting new friends, he's back into soccer with the same league he was in before we left, and so he's really reintegrating, and he's happy. And so I wouldn't want to just uproot him and then put him somewhere else new all over again. And so my husband and I have just been praying and seeking the Lord on what we should do. And so we kind of came to this conclusion, obviously we're still seeking the Lord and still praying regularly, but kind of came to a conclusion where it's okay, we're gonna be here for now, until God says turn right or turn whatever. We're gonna keep on this path until God says otherwise. But in the meantime, maybe once a year, if we're able to, go back to Ethiopia, visit, observe the climate, the economic climate, the political climate, and our surroundings, and kind of continue to put those building blocks in place for an eventual return back. And so that's kind of where we are right now, and that's what we're thinking is happening. And as you all know, if you've been following along on the channel, we are building a new house here in the US, and that's something exciting to look forward to. But it wouldn't be something that would tie us here forever. My husband and I are thinking that even if we build it and live in it for a while, maybe we'll rent it out or something if we ever decide to, or not if we, when the time comes for us to move back to Ethiopia. We don't know exactly when that will be, but we're just, like I said, following the leading of the Father. So yeah, and I had started to kind of feel better with having a plan in place, but it was still not quite enough. Even the excitement of building the house was exciting, but I'm I would rather be in Ethiopia, honestly. And having the plan in place to go step by step was yeah, that's great. I'm looking forward to doing that each year, but I'm still stuck in this cycle, and I was still cycling through the sadness, the regret, the disappointment, trying to be happy and content, back to feeling sad, still cycling through it. And I couldn't figure out okay, well, we're hearing from God, we're putting things into place, we've got a plan, but why am I still struggling, And I didn't receive an answer or clarity on this. It's been almost 4 months that we've been here until yesterday. And so there's a weekly women's Bible study that I have been attending, and this past meeting I went, and I had the 2 youngest kids with me. They're always with me during the day, and they have a child care set up at the Bible study. So a couple of times before, I was able, I went without them because my husband was off. The second time I went, they were able to stay in the child care, for the most part without any issues. But this last time, my baby Joshua, he did not want to stay in there. He was crying and he wanted me to come get him. And so I went back there, and I was thinking, okay, maybe if I take him with me into the sanctuary where the Bible study was taking place, I can kind of feed him and keep him quiet and listen to the Bible study. And so I was feeding him. We're still nursing. Pray on that too, but anyways. So I was feeding him, and he was eating. Everything was good. But then, when he finished, he was kind of up, looking around. He wanted to talk, and, for anybody who knows him in person, he's actually quite loud. So I didn't want him to disturb the other women and what, they came for. So I took him and my middle son back to the child care. And I was just back there with them because I could not leave. The baby would not let me leave. And so I was kind of feeling like, oh, I came all this way. It's not really close to the house. So I came all this way to the Bible study to be a part of it. And I can't even be present in the Bible study. But the woman who was, in the back with the children, she was really an encouragement to me. And it was such an unexpected blessing. And so this woman has been a member of that church for a long time, and I believe she has 5 children. And so, she said to me, oh, you have the 3 boys, right? And I said, yeah. She's like, I also started with 3 boys. And then she went on to have 2 girls. But she was like, when I had the 3 boys, I was really, struggling. And I called the pastor's wife and told her, I feel like I'm drowning. I'm stressed, overwhelmed, I'm tired all the time. And I was like, yeah, that's my story. And she said the pastor's wife said to her, this is the season God wants you in right now. And for her, something clicked. The light bulb went off in her head, and she finally understood this is an assignment from God for me. And so she said she just really embraced that assignment. And she, made a conscious effort to be present in her children's lives. She wasn't working at the time, so they were her full-time job and responsibility. And so she was telling me, like, she just had to come to terms with the fact that, at the time when she had her 3 boys, she did not have friends that were also, a lot of friends, I guess, that were also married and had children. So they would go out and she would try to, go with them. And sometimes she would be like, well, I have the kids. And they'd be like, bring them, how people like to do who don't have kids. They're like, yeah, just bring them, it's fine. And, not realizing that's stressful for us as mothers because I can't really enjoy. So she was saying, I just realized that in that season, maybe I wasn't going to be going out as much and, doing a lot of stuff with friends at the time. And she just came to terms with that and accepted that and said, that's okay. That's the season that I'm in, but I have a really important assignment from the Lord. And she told me, we can send our kids somewhere and give them to somebody else, at a daycare or a preschool. But what's really best for them is to be with mom. And she said, these little babies, they need us. They need their mom. And so that whole conversation and experience was a word from the Lord through this woman to me about, like, this is the season that I'm in right now. And what a blessing it is. I don't have to work at the moment. I can be present with my children. And be there for them, for soccer, for homework, for naps, for their lunchtime, for their playtime, for their learning time. Like, I can be there. And even though it's not exactly where I want to be at the moment, I got it. I finally got the answer that I was searching for that nobody else could give me. It didn't come from my pastor. It didn't come from my husband. It didn't even come from my own mother. It came from another woman, another mother who had a similar experience. And I think that there's a word in that. There really is a word in that, because I think we're coming to a time now where those people who are used to being celebrities in the church, who are used to having the fame and the fortune of the church and being in the followers, the people in the church, that time is coming to an end. God is saying enough. He's going to use the lesser things, the weaker things, to confound those who thought that they were wise. It's going to be the ordinary people like me and you who are able to just share and encourage one another just by our experiences and be used by God because we are a willing vessel. And this woman, she was a willing vessel and being used by God and not even realizing it. And so I, in turn, turned it around and encouraged her and sent her a text message after I got home later on last night and just told her, I just want to let you know that you encouraged me. You helped me change my perspective on motherhood. Like, you did that. And I said, oftentimes, people who serve in children's ministry, working in the back of the church, may or can feel forgotten by people, forgotten by God. And I was like, I just want you to know you're not forgotten. God is still using you. He is speaking through you. So be encouraged, because I'm encouraged, and you did that. You allowed God to use you and encourage me. And so I was just like blown away, because I could have gotten up and said, you know what, forget it. I can't even listen to the Bible study. Like, let's just go home, packed up my kids, packed up my stuff, and left. But had I done that, I would have missed the word that God had for me. I would have missed the answer I've been seeking for and praying for the last 4 months. And so, how amazing God is, and how like intimate and close to us He is, that He cares so much, So if you are a mother out there, and you're struggling and you're trying to figure out, this can't be life, there's got to be more to it, I just want to encourage you that you are doing an important work for the kingdom of God. You are raising young men and young women to be kings and queens in the kingdom. And it's an important assignment. And God has entrusted your children to you, my children to me, because He trusts us with these little ones. Not everyone is able to have a child. And some people adopt. And that is also an assignment that the Lord gives. But, for those of us who have children, like, this is an important assignment. God has trusted us with these little ones, with these little lives. And what an amazing thing. I just am believing in my mind that there's going to be a great reward for, those of us mothers who have, literally blood, sweat, and tears poured into our children to raise them. And we get to the throne room, and it's going to be like, well done. You did it. You accomplished your assignment. Not to say it's your only assignment. I don't think it's my only assignment. I think that I've got a lot more to come, and I'm excited for those things too. But I want to be present in this moment right now with these children for this assignment that God has given me. And if you are a man and you're watching this, if you're a husband, I would say, listen to your wives. Because yes, while God has put you as the head of the family, and your role and your job is to lead and make those decisions for the family, your wife, I believe, represents the Holy Spirit in your life. And so listen to her, listen to what she's saying, and not just the words that she's saying, but try to also understand where she's coming from with those words. Like, ask yourself, why is she saying this? And that I believe has helped me and my husband, and may help you guys. But so I don't want to make this video too long, but I just wanted to come on here and say I'm encouraged. I'm encouraged by everything that's been going on in my life, and I'm excited for the future, and I think the smile that you see on my face is a genuine smile. I can feel it in myself. I can feel my confidence returning. I can feel my strength returning. I can feel the joy of the Lord returning to me, and I'm so happy to kind of come out of that foggy funk and be back to who I am. So I hope you all are encouraged by this video. Thank you so much. Please continue to watch and subscribe to the channel as I bring you along on this journey. All right, guys, thank you, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.